Hello, my Tubies and my Teletubbies. I hope you can see this, what I have here on my screen. It's strong women are often misperceived as cold and mean simply because they refuse to be disrespected, mistreated, or taken for granted. And my reason for making this video is because I am so sick and tired of hearing women say that just because you have been enlightened, God has chosen to enlighten you, and you are no longer sleepwalking and you're wide awake, and you have made the conscious decision that you choose to be single. And they want to make it seem like there's something wrong with you or like you're not successful because you choose not to be disrespected or mistreated. And I'm noticing this day and age that there are so many women who are allowing these men to break them. These women are broken, and here's why I say that. I am an advice coach, and every week, like clockwork, I'm getting emails and telephone calls, and I even do video chat. I've even sat here and cried with some of the women because it's just so sad. And you have a lot of these women who are so broken, they have allowed the man to break them. And I say that they're saying, I don't care if he has somebody else. I'm willing to let him have his cake and eat it too. As long as he don't give me an STD, as long as he don't make a baby with someone else, as long as he's not having sex with another man, then I say let him do him. As long as he treats me right. That's when you know you have allowed a man to break you. This is Sheila True Love, and there's not a man on this planet, on God's green earth, I gotta laugh at this. I want to see the dude who got such great pimp talk that you could break Sheila True Love. That man has not been created yet. Now I'm going to measure up and admit my mistakes in the past. And I was never let nobody break me. That ain't happening because I kick suckers out. That's what I believe. So, I never saw my mother allow someone to take advantage of her. Now, to me, it's just so upsetting. And then you have so many females who are saying that they're doing this to try to do it for the children. They're not doing this for the children, to hold your family together, because this is not, we are not living in the dark ages or prehistoric times, and we do have co-parenting, we have video chats, we have so many more advances when it comes to keeping the children with both parents. Now, I recently had a phone call with a woman who deals with nothing but married men. Now, she said she always seek out married men. She said the reason she seeks out married men because a lot of these married women, I thought her thinking was a little twisted, but she's a client, and who am I to judge? She said she seeks out married men because a lot of these wives are selfish. They know good and well that their husband is cheating on them, and yet they still stay. The children are constantly seeing the mother put up with a lot of disrespect. The mother is putting up with all kinds of abuse, all kinds of being used, taken advantage. And the children are seeing the mother stay. So when she's trying to pretend like she's doing this for the children and she loves her children, nah, baby, please. These married women, these women, they're not married, but they seek out married men. They feel that they are getting even with these selfish women. Because if these women don't care about messing up these kids because you're showing your son. When you stand there and you stay with abuse, you're teaching your son that this is the way you're supposed to treat women. It's okay. They're not going to go anywhere. There's no consequences. You're teaching your daughter to put up with this nonsense. You know, a man cheats on you, he's out the door and don't look back. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, whatever. But I'm listening to my client. I almost said her name, but I don't want to say her name. But I'm listening to what she's saying on why she targets married men, because she feels that that's what these wives deserve, because these wives are so selfish. They're not doing it for the children. They're doing it for themselves, just so that they could say, oh, look, I have a man, whatever. But anyway, I sit here and I try to promote women to be single, because the day and age that we live in, they're constantly trying to put pressure on people being in a relationship. And I'm trying to take the pressure off of people who choose not to. I am not against people getting married. I say it's a beautiful thing when God puts it together. If you have found a partner who has the mind of Christ, and a partner who has the morals and values of biblical morals and values, and they are on Jesus Christ's team, like the Bible says, what God has put together, let no one pull apart. Let no one even think about trying to separate that. But my problem is these marriages these days and these relationships are not being put together by God. Better yet, they're not being put together by Jesus Christ. These relationships are being put together by Satan, the devil. And I don't care if some dude is going to church every now and again, because when you look at Dawson Speaks, check out that channel, Dawson Speaks, all of these dudes who are fleecing the flock, if you will, laying up with all these different women in the church, these are pastors. These are deacons. These are supposed to be people who are taking the lead in the church with these men, and then laying up with all these different women. So we know that these are people who are just, no. So if you say, well, I got a man, he goes to church, isn't that the same as Jesus putting us together? No, it's not. Not if he's doing things that's not in the mind of Christ. And I know that we're not perfect. No one is perfect. And I agree. But you don't have to be perfect to keep your private parts in your pants and your tongue in your mouth. Now, we all get angry. We all lose our temper from time to time. We all raise our voice. We all make some mistakes when it comes to rearing and raising our children. You see, now that's because we're not perfect. That's something that we can't really help. When we lose our temper sometime, or we are not as patient as we should be, those are things that we're not perfect on. I get it. But to keep your private parts in your pants, honey, you don't have to be perfect to do that. Anyway, I want to share this video because I found it to be very interesting, and I'm hoping that it would prove to be helpful to you as well as to me, and so that you can see that I'm not just some woman who's bitter and hateful and think I'm above it all. No. There are numerous women all over the world who are waking up. And I'm not basing things just on my experience. I'm basing things, listen, when I tell you, Tubies, I'm not lying. Jesus Christ is my witness. I've talked to thousands and thousands of women, either through emails, through video chat, through texts, and this is all over the world. So I'm not even basing this on my experience, because I'm not hurting. I'm healed. I have been healed when it comes to this relationship bullery. My main objective right now, and I'm focused on 3 good female friends who are local, who live local in my area, and I mean, you're 20 to 30 minutes away from me. And when people say, well, you can't blame people, Sheila, for trying to be hopeful. And I say, keep hope alive. I'm totally hopeful. But I have hope that I'm going to find these 3 women that, maybe 2 women, 1 dude, one man, who we're going to build a support network. I'm hopeful. So I don't say you're supposed to lose your hope. But why does your hope have to be everything has got to be about a man? A man. I got to have a man. I can't be happy unless I have a man. I need a relationship. Come on, cut that. Kill the noise. Come on. I'm done with that. Now, she's gorgeous. This woman is beautiful. Her name is Iolandi Melody. She's gorgeous. Scale of 1 to 10, she's like a 12. I think she's like in her early 30s. Maybe 30s. She's like 30, 35. And listen to her take on this when it comes to why she loves being single and why you should too. And when I was listening to this female, I was like, is this my twin? Is this like my daughter? Because she sees things exactly the way that I see it. So I said, not that I need anybody to validate me, but it's so refreshing to know that I'm not the only female on the planet who has common sense. Anyway, without further ado, here we go.
Channel. If you're new here, my name's Yolanda Melody. I'm an independent music artist from the UK. I'm going to tell you why being single is actually something to be proud of. And I'm also going to share the grim reality of most people's relationships so that you can feel better. So, a little bit of background. I've been single for 4 years. In fact, no, 5. Pretty sure I've been single for at least 5 years. I've lost count. The reason why I've been single for that long? No one's good enough for me. I have very, very high standards. I'm not in any rush. I'm extremely career focused and I have ambitions, and I just see it that relationships just get in the way of that. Also, when you're one of these creative people that's kind of chasing their dreams, it's very, very hard to find someone who understands that. And I also had a very, very traumatic relationship with a sociopath who messed with my head a lot. So I'm kind of reluctant to experience that again. Don't get me wrong, it takes a very, very thick skin to actually genuinely get to the point where you enjoy being single and you're actually not lying to yourself. I went through maybe a few years of feeling like I would like someone else in my life and I would like a relationship. But honestly, the longer that you're single, the harder it is for someone to come into your life, because you learn so much about yourself and you get to the point where you really, really enjoy your own company. If you've got to this kind of stage where you genuinely feel like you're happy being single, then this video is just to reinforce that. But if you've clicked on this video, I'm presuming that you're going through that phase where you're kind of, in your mind, you kind of want a relationship and you want someone there. And I'm going to help you to get over that mindset, because you are not going to find a healthy relationship if you really want just a relationship and to just have someone be your partner. So the first thing I want to point out is, as we all know, Disney messes with your head. Most of us watched Disney when we were younger, and it always repeated this notion that there was this...
Yeah, I have to pause on that because that's a point that I was trying to stress, that I always try to stress to some of my clients. We were raised on the Disney Channel, where, we have Cinderella, we have Snow White, we have Sleeping Beauty, we have all of this where the prince, he comes in, and the moment you get yourself into a relationship or you get married, you're going to live your happily ever after. I'm no longer into Disney Channel. No, I'm an adult. And I no longer believe in fairy tales. And that's not to say that there aren't some really healthy or good relationships out there or good marriages. I'm not saying that, because I'm not bitter and I'm not hateful. And like I said, if you find yourself a partner and God has put that together, honey, I will pull out my dancing shoes and I will dance at every song at your wedding. And I will be praying to God that it turns out to be successful and everlasting. But my point is that these relationships today, God is not putting these things together. That's why the divorce rate is so high. The separation rate is so high. Come on already. It's time for when you get to a certain age. Okay, this is a female who's in her 30s, her early 30s, and she's already woke. You're going to tell me you in your 50s, your 60s, and 70s, and you still sleepwalking? You still haven't been enlightened? I don't want to say stuck on stupid because I don't want to offend anyone. So I'm going to use the term enlightened.
Helpless woman, and she found her prince, and her Prince Charming saved her from the terrible life that she had before. I'm telling you, that ain't real. And what makes it worse is that films that were made for adults, I'm talking about romantic films like The Notebook and all these rom-coms, they promote this idea that the end goal is to have a husband and children, and there's always this damsel in distress that's desperate to find a man and keeps bumping into these absolute dickheads. And then eventually her prince comes along and saves her. Yeah, I don't watch those films. I avoid them like the plague because these films and this kind of media is what perpetuates this same notion, and it's really just setting people up to fail. I have a very abstract taste in films. I always tend to lean towards films that are either thrillers, psychological, films that kind of have a dark undertone, and I usually gravitate towards films where there is a strong female lead.
I love that. I love strong female leads too. And I gravitate towards films that are realistic. I look at things that are like thrillers, not horror. I don't like horror, but I like love psychological. I love westerns. I love things where women have the strong female lead. I love things like uh, showing, how being single, you can still be happy. I gravitate, and to be honest with you, I like things that are more realistic. I look at divorce court. I look at paternity court. I look at this show called Wives with Knives. I look at With For My Man. Because that's not Disney Channel. That's more reality. That's what's really going on here. I lean more towards Facebook and listening to the reality. I listen to Runaway Husbands. I'm in that support group trying to build these women up. Also, that's where I get a lot of my clients. I listen to Married 25 plus years and how the dude just picks up and leave. I lean towards things that are reality.
So very conscious of the type of media that I consume in general, for example, music. I only listen to bad bitch music. Female rappers. I also love dubstep and drum and bass. I don't listen to whiny breakup music and songs about how your heart is broken. That's gonna mess you up. Although that sounds pretty hypocritical because a lot of my music is breakup music. But I don't like to think that it's whiny. If I could actually rap, I'd probably love to be a female rapper, but who knows, maybe I'll try it in the future. If you like this video so far, make sure to drop it a like. And if you're also going to do that, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
And I subscribe to her channel because I love women who are inspirational, women who are strong and independent. And when I say strong and independent, I really mean independent. You don't have no man in your house that you need to depend on. A strong, independent woman to me is she should be happy with a man. She could be happy without him. She don't have to have a relationship in order to feel like she's worth something. That's a strong woman to me, and I love to surround myself around those type of women. I just do.
Yeah. So the first step to enjoying being single is to get yourself in that mindset that you don't need a man. I notice a pattern when it comes to women who've been single for a long time and women who have suffered from any form of mental or physical abuse. They kind of go through this glow up. They look at how weak they used to be and how they were manipulated, and then they transform into this proper, like, bad bitch that's just, like, absolutely indestructible. Now, I don't know about you guys, but those type of women are the type of women that I look up to, and most of them are single. So why are you feeling ashamed for being single? Another thing to bear in mind is that most relationships that you see on social media, or even people who are friends with you that are in relationships, they're always putting on a front. This might ruffle some feathers, but it's true.
Yep, listen to what she's about to say. And like she said, this may ruffle some feathers because a lot of times people don't want to hear the truth. And I remember speaking to a female, and she said people don't want to hear the truth because the truth hurts. The truth hurt. I'd rather be hurt than devastated, because I realize that if you're hurt, this too shall pass. And you can get past the hurt a lot easier than being devastated. I mean, I have been through some things, that it's better than just being put into a PTSD moment, or put into a situation where you have to end up going on these heavy antidepressants, or you have to end up in a psychiatric unit. Yeah, go ahead and hurt me, kid. That's okay, because I know this will pass. I'm going to get over it. And I know that I'll get over it because I've been hurt in the past and I managed to survive it. I've been hurt in the past and I got over it. Now, I was devastated one time, and that nearly killed the hell out of me. So no, I'm not eager to go out there and sign on for it again. But I'm not basing things off of just my experience, or not even my experience, because I've healed. Jehovah God and Jesus Christ got me through it. I'm basing things off of what I'm hearing every week. Every freaking week. And I'm telling you, if you knew what I listen to and what I'm hearing, then you would certainly understand why I'm doing everything to take the pressure off of women, and take the pressure off of women allowing these men to break them. I'm working hard to try to help people realize that being single is not a bad thing. Personally, to be honest with you, I think you're insane to want to be in a relationship where you're being abused. You're insane where you want constant drama, constant stress, constant somebody disrespecting you, constantly somebody mistreating you. That's when I think you're a nut job. Check this out. I'd rather be unhappy being single than unhappy and being married. Because when you are unhappy and you're single, that's so much easier to fix. But when you're unhappy and you're married, it's like you're just stuck. You don't have hardly any way out.
Nobody wants to share the flaws within their relationship. Nobody posts a video of them arguing with their partner on the daily. But they will be surefire to take a picture of them out in the garden together or at an event. It takes 2 seconds to smile and hug that.
Sorry about that, my tubies. I had to readjust the picture.
Person to come across like you're really, really happy. And then once the picture's taken, they can go back to frowning. A lot of people nowadays do not go through the journey of self-development. The way that most of us are brought up is that you've just got to find a relationship. You've just got to find a relationship because your eggs only last a certain few years, and you need to get babies pushed out, and you need to get married as soon as possible and move in together. Why? What's the rush? No one ever dictates like that you need to develop yourself, and you should meet a person that's healthy, that actually takes care of you, that has worked through their trauma. I just don't get it. Also, if you see people posting all the time with their partner and they're always posting on social media, unless it's kind of like part of their brand and they're an influencer or something, if they're posting all the time with their partner, sometimes that can actually show insecurities within the relationship. It kind of makes me shiver when people put their profile picture as them and their partner. because that's your profile. That's you. You are not them. I might get a lot of hate for this, so I'm really, really sorry. I'm not.
I hear you, girl. You're gonna get a lot of hate. I might get a lot of hate from it too, because I see a lot of people who post a lot of stuff on their Facebook or on their Instagram, and I know their real life. They sit up here and they posted all these great pictures with their partner, whatever, and that's just, but they don't post the part where they're sitting up there fussing and fighting and arguing almost every day. They don't post the part where she caught him cheating, and they don't post the part where they're sitting up there sometimes getting physical. They don't post all of that. They post this little 1% of a time that they're having a good time. And that to me is a form of being deceiving and deceptive. Like, I go out on several dates. I've gone out on several dates with some of the people in my DM. But you don't see me taking pictures and posting this and posting that. I just don't do that. Because to me, what it seems to me is people are trying to put up a front. They're trying to make it seem like they're so happy and look at my great life. Oh, yes, look how happy I am. When most of the time, these are the most depressed people. These are the most people who have a hard time with getting out of bed in the morning. They're suffering from anxiety. And I know one, she's a young female. She's young. I think she's 30 or something like that. And she's always posting this stuff like she's living her best life. Honey, the girl is the most depressed thing ever. Her man is cheating on her every other day. He done gave her at least 3 or 4 or 5 freaking STDs. But you would never know that based on what she's posting on her freaking Facebook, or her Instagram. And it's just a lie. That's why when I go out, no, you never look at my channel. You don't see me sitting around posting my date on here, and I've been over here to this place, and I went over here. I go out a lot of places. She, the true love, is not one to sit and isolate. I go out, but I don't sit around and post things like that, because to me, it's just fake and phony.
Meaning to offend you. People can do what they want, you know. Oh, but when people say, my other half, you are a whole. You are you. You are complete. You are not half of another person. I don't know why this is a common phrase that people use, but I think it's really, really toxic. I am so much of a big person. Like, not meaning to toot my own horn, but I feel like I've got a very, very, very big personality. I could not be half of another person. The object when it comes to relationships for me is to be a whole within yourself, and then for them to be whole, and then you to be two complete people next to each other, supporting each other, and then you grow together, you know? But a lot of people lean on each other, and then they push the other person down, and then sometimes the other person might have a bit of strength, and then they push the other person. But I see so...
And I agree with that too. When you see these relationships, you always have one person who have to water themselves down so that the other person don't feel bad. You can't show the beauty of all that you are, because you got to worry about your partner. You have to always make sure that you got to bring your partner in. And well, if it wasn't for my partner, and if we were, you got to constantly water yourself down. You can't, you always have one partner who eventually becomes jealous or envious of the other person, because either one, the other person is a little more successful, or two, the other person tends to shine just a little bit more than the other one. And in these relationships, you know, I remember I was married. Oh man, please. Many times I had to water myself down so that my partner, my husband, wouldn't feel less than. So I noticed, but I wasn't going to let that happen to She the True Love. I wasn't. I'm going to sit up here, and if I'm powerful, I'm powerful. If I'm strong, if I'm successful, if I'm smart, if I'm intellectual, if I'm articulate, I'm not going to sit up here and have to dummy up just so he could feel better. No, he needs to rise to the occasion. He needs to try. I don't have no problem trying to help him come up and help him make a come up. I don't have a problem with that, because that's what a woman does. She's a man's helper. I'm here to help you, but I will not sit up here and have to constantly keep watering myself down. I have to constantly keep dummying myself, dummy up. God, and I remember so many times I had to do that my previous marriage. And it was exhausting. It was draining. It used to make me very, very frustrated and angry. And then I said, no, I'm not going to lose who I am. I am so not going to lose who I am. Why? Because I have boundaries and I have standards. Either he rises to the occasion or I will leave him in the dust.
Many relationships where both parties are actually trying to break the other one's confidence and they're always at lockheads with each other. So don't be jealous and don't be feeling like you're missing out, because majority of the time you're not. More reasons to be happy to be single are: you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
You can post a booty picture on Instagram. No one's going to say anything. No one's going to have an issue, apart from haters, but they're not really relevant. You're not going to get a phone call from that person being like, why have you posted that on Instagram? You can go out when you want. You can see who you want to see. Friends, I'm talking about. I'm not kind of promoting this notion of sleeping around, because I think it's actually quite dangerous. You can wear what you want. You can be as crazy as you want to be. You can be yourself and you've got no one dictating to you what you shouldn't be doing. You can also sleep at night knowing that no one is cheating on you or lying to you. And your time is completely yours to do as you please. You can listen to the music that you want to listen to. You can watch whatever you want on Netflix, and you don't have to sit and watch something that you don't want to watch just because they want to watch it. And the most important one for me is that you can chase a big career that you want to chase. You will have the time. In order to do anything big in life, it takes more time to do those things than your average job. If you are hustling to get somewhere and to be really successful, you have to put a lot of time into what you're doing, and a relationship will take up a lot of your time and your energy if it's toxic. This repeated notion and conditioning and pressure that people put on other people about settling down and getting a relationship as soon as possible is actually what's making all of these toxic relationships, because it's less about your happiness and it's more about how you look to other people. A lot of people will go for a relationship that they kind of know is bad for them, and then they'll stay in that relationship, and then they'll stay with that person that long that they actually feel scared of leaving that relationship because they worry about what other people are going to think. A lot of people meet someone when they're a lot younger and they stay in that relationship and they stay year upon year. Some of them actually get married to that person, they move in together, and deep down they know that relationship's not good for them. They're not happy with that person, but they just keep staying with them because they don't want to tell people, oh, it didn't work out. But I actually think it shows a lot of strength. If you're in a relationship that's bad and you actually have the strength to leave, etc., then you're stronger than the majority of people.
I agree with her. On that note, yes, honey. Like I said, I would much rather be unhappy being single than being unhappy and I'm married. No, that just don't make sense. It don't sit well with me. It don't make sense to me. It don't sit well with me. And you have a lot of people who are just stuck in these relationships because they're so afraid of having to fly solo. And I am so grateful to my Heavenly Father and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I've never been that afraid. I've never been that afraid to the point where I'm going to let somebody break me. These women are broken. They just sat up here and said, okay, I'm going to settle for being abused. I'm going to settle for letting somebody mistreat me. I'm going to settle for someone disrespecting me. I'll just settle for it. You know, and like I said, I'm not hateful and I'm not bitter. I'm better. And I hope that a lot of people, especially women, know the difference between bitter and better. You know? God is good to some of us. I keep thinking that maybe God don't let other people wake up because maybe some of these women still have to be abused because they're reaping what they sow. That's why God hasn't enlightened them, or God has still he keeps them stuck in these relationships because maybe these women deserve to be treated badly because they're reaping what they sow. But when a woman is a good woman, God helps her to get out of this Disney Channel. God helps her to stop, how you say, sleepwalking, and she's now fully awoke. She's awoke, awake, potato, potato, tomato, tomato, saith whichever way you feel comfortable with. But when a woman probably is, I don't know, deserving of abuse, then God will not wake her up. God will continue to make her feel that she's not happy unless she has a man. She can't function, or everything has got to be about a relationship, and maybe she's reaping what she sowed. That's all. That's the only way I can understand it. Anyway, this is Sheila True Love. Like always, truly loving you and always trying to keep you enlightened. You know, I plant the seed. It's up to Jehovah God. It's up to Jesus Christ whether he lets it grow. And if God don't let this seed of enlightenment grow inside of you, then that means that something is wrong with your heart and you deserve to continue to be abused. You deserve to be treated badly and you deserve to be mistreated. Because God is already planting the seed by me talking to you and I'm planting it. Now let's see if Jesus Christ is going to let it grow inside of you. This is Sheila True Love. Until next time, goodbye for now. I love you.